we're going to bring in Shamika Michelle after I set the table for today's conversation. It's about Black History Month and why I believe Black History Month is a myth and is something that is being used to divide us. It's very
Oh.
divisive.
Mm.
That I have clearly not always believed that as a young
Mm.
person and even as an adult. I thought
Mm.
Black History Month was necessary, and then I
Mm-hmm.
probably moved to harmless, to now I have moved to no, it's divisive, it's anti unity,
Mm.
it's promotion of an idol, skin
Oh.
color being that idol, and
Mm.
that American history covers Black history when
It
told
does.
properly.
Mm.
And the
Let's stop it right there, because Jason Whitlock got stuff pouring, got bull pouring out his mouth from the beginning. Joseph Ward, Patrick Irvin, Professor Carlton Jones back again for Breakdown Friday, and we are breaking down Jason Whitlock's idea of Black History Month being canceled. Now, I first came across this. Scrolling through YouTube the other day, and I came across, I think, a post from Dennis Sperling's YouTube channel. Shout out to Mr. Dennis Sperling. And so apparently recently, Jason Whitlock tweeted that he believes that Trump should ban Black History Month. And so after I read that tweet, I went to YouTube and I went back to YouTube and I searched for a video because I figured Jason Whitlock had to talk about it. Now, this is a video from a year ago of Jason Whitlock giving what he believes as a sound reason, emphasis on what he believes as a sound reason why Black History Month should be banned. He's already saying it's a myth, it's divisive, and it promotes Black skin color as like in a superiority complex. But before we get deep into this thing, y'all remember to like this video, comment, subscribe, share this video. That way, more people can see what we have going on the shows of Giants. More people can support myself, Professor Carlton Jones, Patrick Irvin. And with that being said, make sure after this, you go check out FetLifeStation.com. FetLifeStation.com. The link is in the description. Go check it out. Also, on your free time, and matter of fact, after you do this, listen to PC, then go to thepax.org. Bam. You're going to be good for the day. You're going to be good for the day. So remember that. Like this video, comment, share, subscribe. And remember, there are ways to support the three of us in the description. So please support us, because all your support go back to our community engagement and our community empowerment. So jump back on Jason Whitlock. So Jason Whitlock, of course, if you don't know who he is, Jason Whitlock is a sportscaster. I believe he's worked on ESPN and Fox, and he's been ousted pretty much everywhere he's gone. It's like a male Amanda Seals. He's like a male Amanda Seals, and everywhere he goes, it just leaves a trail of boo-boo everywhere, because that's just what he's made of. He's a heart full of boo-boo. He's not a real man, and he like to just talk. He like to throw shots from a distance, right? Because Jason Whitlock, he ain't real like that. But the idea that Black History Month should be banned, to me, is like, okay, well, give me a good reason why. Because every group of people should have access to learning their history. But he talked about, I stopped at the point where he said Black History Month is covered if American history is told properly. Well, ain't that duh. So Black History Month exists because American history was never told properly. Duh. And it's still not told properly. Matter of fact, they're going to measures to make sure that it can't be taught in academic settings, especially school settings. Duh, Jason Whitlock. Duh. But Pat, what you got? What you think, man? What you think?
Mm. Well, Jason, Mr. Whitlock said words, and he connected those words together, and
It get worse. It get worse. I know you ain't
so
seen this. It get worse.
so I find it interesting. He said Black history is a myth. I don't know if his definition of myth is different from mine. I don't know what sort of Black history mythology he's speaking of. Um, but as far as I know,
I was finna be mean. I was about to be mean. I had to catch myself.
well, I mean, as far as I know, like we just do like the general stuff they teach us, right? Like just the basic stuff we learn every Black History Month. Like Rosa Parks, like is real. Like she existed. Like as far as I know, that actually she was a real person that did the things that are attributed to her.
Yeah.
Martin Luther King is real. You know what
Yeah.
I'm like? Peanuts exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
not sure where he's getting the usage of the term myth from, but I don't think he's using it in the same way that I understand it to be used when used properly. So we're just gonna say that. When covered properly, as you said, Joe, according to whom and when has it ever been covered properly? If it was being covered properly, Carter G. Woodson would have never
Well,
put forth the idea to begin with, right? Am I off?
well, because it's like he has the idea that Black History Month is supposed to make white people feel good.
Well, he has a lot of ideas, and I'm sure um, he has the words to share them. But anti-unity, right? Like
Right.
anti-unity with whom? For whom? You know, like so when we start, like I love playing words with friends. And when we start playing these games, like it's amazing how they have the ability to like take words and mix in things that sound like it makes sense,
But
and then layer on top of use that to layer on top of the BS, and then they sprinkle in some feel good stuff, and then everybody bite into it thinking, "Oh, this tastes great," not realizing that they're eating fecal matter, and that's what this is. Skin color as an idol. So which skin color? Because we got 3 different ones on the screen. So whose skin color are we worshiping? Actually, we got 4 because Jason Whitlock is a whole different color. So which skin color are we idolizing? Like who's the god out of the 4 of us?
Yeah, he just be talking, man. It's
so I don't. But even with that, Black history is we know what it is, but the whole worshiping skin color. Well, White Zaddy did that.
Well, the NPC jump in at any time, my brother, because this ain't gonna be the same structured way. Because we talking right now, but there's a skin color issue in America because of racism. There's a skin color issue in the world because of racism.
Wait, wasn't he just talking about some butter? What is it? Peanut butter breast?
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
And then Black history is a myth.
Black history is a myth, and skin color, and like, but he's not serious because he's wearing a brown shirt right now.
But I mean, first of all, shout out to his camera. That is a clear picture.
Oh yeah, that's crystal.
That's a clear. They must got like the 4K. What is it? What are they called? The red cameras or something like that. Anyway, before we get too far into this, I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the passing of our good elder, the man who taught us about racism, white supremacy, and what it was. I don't know if y'all can see that. Elder Nelly Fuller, gave us a compensatory counter-racist code book. He was actually the code breaker that Dr. Frances Cress Welsing was looking for in her everlasting journey to identify racism, white supremacy. And so she stumbled across him, and he became her Jegna. So, we would have Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, but she would not have, it probably would have taken a different route for her to sort of get the idea and understanding of the system of racism, white supremacy. So, we want to, recognize the now ancestor, Nelly Fuller, Neely Fuller Jr. and his transition into the ancestral realm. So I just wanted to take a moment out to do that. But getting back to this Black History Month MS, I don't get the whole notion of, like, I mean, y'all broke it down plain. If Black history was actually being taught, there would have been no need for Dr. Carter G. Woodson or, the Omegas on the campus of Chicago, Illinois, or Chicago University back in 1924 to even start celebrating Negro History Week. And if the accomplishments in the history or the lies weren't told, or the lies by omission regarding the contribution to American and world history by Black folk, then then there would have been no need, because we could have just gone to a history book.
Right.
To be this just disingenuous is like, come on, man. I mean, how much clickbait do you need? And I think it's funny, Joe. Joe, you're hilarious. Yeah, you're not a man.
Straight up.
But and I love the ad libs Pat was giving when he first came on. But this is clickbait, and I understand when you try to, because we've got people in the so-called conscious community do that, and they created enemies, and they believe that would drive their numbers up. And so there's some people who believe that there's no such thing as bad publicity, but it is a such thing as people not taking you seriously. And when you make statements and claims like this, and then you do it in a way that it looks like you're clearing the path to eradicate white guilt, then I'm calling this a verge of separation. No, separation was separating us from actual history to begin with. That was the real racism. That was what was causing the problems, separating us from the history that we diligently were a part of.
We shouldn't be passionate about learning about ourselves because it don't make white people feel good. And Jason Whitlock is in the business of making white people feel good.
Well, you need to get those pink nuts off his chin if that's the case, because
he is slurping.
This whole whole thing, and I'm not going to speak on it, but this whole thing about trying to be the Negro that sets Black people straight on how uncomfortable we make white folk feel. I think these are some of the things that cause other people to refer to you as a sellout, because I don't go, like, forget Tim Wise for a second. And Tim Wise has his boundaries. Tim Wise damn sure don't believe in reparations for Black folk or Black people coming out ahead in life. But there's not a parade of white folk running to the front of the audience or to the front of the staircases and screaming out that the injustices of racism, white supremacy have derailed the progress of Black people and is creating an everlasting and ever increasing gap in terms of wealth and access to wealth and prosperity in America. You don't see a large group of that. You see a large group of that of white folks telling Black people to get out and get it on your own, and we're no longer. I never sold slaves. I never owned slaves, and then you get that disingenuous conversation from the majority of the white populace that speaks to these things. So it really doesn't do us a service to continue to even entertain folks like this. Now, they are dangerous.
Yeah.
Because white folks will use them as folly to hide behind while they do their dirt towards us. And then what they'll do is, well, they will show this video and say, see, Black folks, this is what we've been talking about. At least we have one Black person with common sense. And they'll pull Jason Whitlock up. And I don't know whether he's doing it for sponsorship or what, keeping up appearances. But this type of stuff is getting old. I mean, who was the guy out in LA? Larry Elder
Yeah,
made
tap
a whole
dance.
career. Yeah, make a whole career out of this. What's the old brother that's a pastor? Shit, I wish I could remember his name. But
It's a whole bunch of those people, those black people, supposed black conservatives who are in this lane who every time they get a chance to crap on black people, they do, and they tackle and they go after the low hanging fruit.
yeah, and see, and then the funny part is we get called sellouts and and because we hold black people accountable. Now, see, juxtapose us to this guy here. Now, do you really understand, black folk, that we have your best interest at heart when we start talking about things we need to do better?
Look at
because this is your alternative in terms of, because we don't pander, we'll never pander. Panders don't care. We take the panda bear somewhere else. But this is what is created when people want feel good news and things of that nature, and then you recognize, and somebody recognizes that if I play the opposition to that, I can create a cash cow. So
now it gets worse. Listen, we're gonna let it run for a minute because it gets worse because he got to get into it.
Left and progressive have used Black History Month to convince black people that our history and our narrative and our role in American society is to be a victim. Our history is actually the oppression that we face, not the accomplishments and or contributions.
I want to address what he just said real quick about the whole concept of Black history being about victimhood. I get that because that's been imported into the culture, but it's not something that black people, at least thought leaders I'm not going to say thought leaders. That's not something that black people did without white corporate sponsorship for those messages. The way that the civil rights movement is told, and the way that the movies and the stories and the shows show black people always being victimized, and then they start humming, and the next thing you know, they're singing a hymn or something, and then some Negro spiritual, "We shall overcome," and they have those moments where their spirit and this, that, and the other is supposed to be the saving grace of their humility and humanity, but black folk aren't really producing those moments. That's not something that's coming from solid black folk who truly have an understanding of our history. I'm sorry, I didn't want to stop.
No, well, there is an element of victimhood, but we could talk about what happened to us. Who cares what you think? Who cares what you think, Jason Whitlock? We can talk about what happened to us, but there is an element of victimhood within Black America. But on the flip side of that coin, are we gonna talk about what happened to us and what you're gonna do about it?
Well, I think what Jason Whitlock just revealed is his perspective, where he sits in terms of viewing black history, and he sits with white folk,
right?
Because black people do celebrate their achievements and their accomplishments. Black people are all too eager to forget the pain and the torment in favor of the beneficial outcomes. We see this all the time. We talk about the integration of schools, Ruby Bridges, and all that other stuff. White people are the ones, when we're talking to white people, or when white people are talking to themselves, they're the ones that present that narrative of victimhood and pain and shame. Because now the conversation is not about, the conversation is not about what black people have accomplished. Now we're talking to white people about what they have done to us. And so if you view black history through that lens, then to me, that lets me know what side you're sitting on. You're not sitting on the side of black folk who look at black history and see a bunch of achievements and accomplishments. You're sitting aside white folks who look at black history and feel ashamed and guilty for all of the things that you've done to us. And yes, I say you, because in this sense, when you position it like that, you're saying that you sit with them. And yes, Kendrick Lamar was right. There is a us and a them, and they not like us.
He's simping for white people. It get worse, though. It get worse.
contributions that we have made. Black History Month is not a celebration of the great contributions Frederick Douglass, Booker T. Washington, or even a Martin Luther King made to American society. Black History Month is a chance for people to run around and pretend like, oh, I can't believe this or that person did X, Y, and Z on the third day of Black History Month or in the middle of Black History Month. I'm going to give you an example of how Black History Month is used to divide and justify an anger and a resentment. And this is just, this example is humorous and silly and stupid.
Come on, man,
but let me just show you what it is I'm talking about.
Please do.
The New York
Please.
Times wrote an article about the popularity of Travis Kelce, the Chiefs tight end's buzz haircut, his fade. And they said that men are going into barbershops saying, hey, give me the Travis Kelce haircut. This is in a barbershop. This is to be expected. Travis Kelce is a NFL superstar. He's on the verge of winning his third Super Bowl. He's considered arguably the greatest tight end in NFL history. And he's dating the biggest pop star on the planet at the moment, Taylor Swift. And so it should not be surprising that white boys around America are saying, man, let me get the look that Travis Kelce's got. Travis Kelce's hooked up with Taylor Swift. He's a football icon. He's, this is why they got Travis Kelce out here promoting the vaccine and the jab, because they feel like he can influence American men to take the vaccine or the jab.
Well, Jason
And
Whitlock,
they would point to the fact that
Say it again.
Yeah.
Jason Whitlock looked like he's rocking the Travis Kelce cut.
he rocking the Fat Albert, but okay, but it get worse. It get worse.
like, oh, Travis Kelce's haircut has become popular with white dudes, and they're now going to the barbershop and asking for the Travis Kelce haircut. Get me a fade. New York Times, an organization I don't care much for, every reason to write this story.
No.
It's a nice little fun, harmless story. But because we're in Racial Idolatry Month, because we're in Black History Myth, because many content creators feel like the thing to do is pretend like at all times Black people are victims and things are being stolen from us,